Welcome back to the Forza Horizon 5 preview, and in this video, we are going to be doing some exploring and free roam. Now, what we're mainly focusing on in this video is I set out to explore the map and find some areas that I thought would be fun drift roads. And by looking at the map, I was able to pinpoint a couple of locations that I felt looked really smooth, flowing, and fun, especially for our built E46 M3 drift car. Now, the location that I found at the end of the video, or I should say towards the end of the video, was one of my favorite spots that I have found in the entire map so far, and I personally think it's going to be a perfect drift circuit for those of you that either want to practice drifting, or maybe just hang out with your buddies and have a little bit of a drift meetup. You can take photos, you could basically do drift laps around each other. There's all sorts of little drift challenges that you can create on your own, but we're going to go through multiple different roads and multiple different map areas in this video, specifically focused on sections that are solely designed to be fun to drift. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Now, after being so rudely slammed into by a random car driving around and smashed off the road into a shed, we're back on our way again. Now, the sun is starting to come back out, and you can see how incredibly beautiful the sky is, and also how beautiful the light and reflections are off of the car. And I'm actually really glad that I left this thing silver, especially for this video, because you'll get to see, not only did you get to see the game in a little bit of a darker way in the beginning of the video, but as this video goes on, you'll see more and more light emerge into the environment, and you'll get to see how the car and the environment react to that additional light from the sun. Now, off in the distance, we can see that it's already starting to light up more out there, but trust me, we'll get to that, and it will light up much more as the video goes on. Now, the reason why I decided to go with this car for a little bit of exploration, some drifting, and some free roam was because I really wanted to get a sense of what roads and what sections of the map were going to be perfect for drift-focused car meets, or just chilling out with friends that you like to drift with. Maybe you've gotten really into building drift cars lately, and you're like, hey, I want to take my drift car or drift cars out to this location, you know, maybe hang out and get some good photos, because that's like half the fun of drifting in a Horizon game, at least to me, is especially when you're doing it with friends, getting photos of y'all tandeming, getting photos of maybe nailing that line that you have been working on for so long that you finally got right. Now, obviously, this section of the map that we're in right now is not necessarily a drift-focused area, but naturally, half the fun of taking your drift car to a drift spot is also drifting the route to get to the drift spot that you weren't necessarily intended to drift in the first place, and avoiding obstacles and random cars that might be coming at you, or whatever it might be. And then when you finally get to some long sweepers, you can really lay into that power, especially, I mean, with this thing, we're running over 800, almost 900 horsepower out of this boosted S54, and my God, does it do a great job. And the more I drove it, the more I realized that not only is this car great for kind of the lower to moderate speed stuff, but it's also amazing at the high speed stuff. And I'm sure that a lot of that comes down to the power, because you don't really need to worry, obviously, so much about momentum as you would in like maybe a 300 or 400 or 500 horsepower drift car. But at the end of the day, though, you still have to think about it. And if you don't have the correct momentum going into a corner, you will lose out on some of that speed. You will lose out on some of the speed and momentum and being able to carry that slide all the way through. Now, this corner, I was able to get really close to that box truck, and not necessarily as close as I wanted to get, but I was also really nervous that I was going to lose my entire points combo, so I just decided, you know what, I'm going to get a little close, but not too close, and kind of play it a little bit safer. Now, this road that runs kind of along the perimeter up here by the mountains, absolutely beautiful section to practice drifting, especially if you're in a higher powered car, because you can just run your gears out through this section of the map. Absolutely just roll onto the power and run your gears out. I'm in 4th and 5th for most of this, but it's still a lot of fun. You're going to be over 50, 60, even 70 miles an hour in some of these sweepers, and that's one of the most fun things you can do in this game, to be honest. Like, you can find that balance with your car, and then once you find it, you hold it right on the edge of that balance, through throttle modulation and careful placement of the car itself. And also, sometimes, occasionally, you can use the brakes mid-transition. I only do that if I'm, you know, really trying to avoid an obstacle, but it really all depends on the situation at hand. Now, the turns will start to get a little bit tighter the further you go this way, especially because you're nearing the canyons at this point. Now, the foothills of the mountains are going to have slightly more wide open sweeping corners, but as you can see on the mini-map, the closer we get to the canyon area, the more you'll start to see some of these S-turns connect to each other and start to flow with each other, and that is an absolute treat, because once you start getting into these back-to-back S-turns that are over, you know, 80, 90 miles an hour, when you link them together, it is so incredibly rewarding. Now, I'm obviously not linking them together right here because this was my first time ever coming through here, but holy crap, guys, like, linking these sections together, mad rewarding. Absolutely mad rewarding. Got some water coming right up to the road right there, which I think is a really cool touch, by the way. It's super cool of a section to just rip through, but I also feel like it'd be a great section for photos as well. And don't worry, because when we get to the road that we have been leading up to, we will of course be showing its location on the map. Now, right here, you can actually see, and actually just a few moments ago as well, you were able to see the light rays shining in through the trees. Once again, it's one of those things where sometimes I actually legitimately have an issue not paying attention to where I am on the road because the freaking game environment is so dang gorgeous. It is just that beautiful, and I'm sure that the more I play the game, the more I will get used to seeing things like that and seeing, you know, visual cues and visual features like that. But right now, wow, right now it's just absolutely incredible to look out into the horizon and just see the draw distance. And by the way, I did not intend to throw a Horizon pun in there. It just kind of happened, and y'all are gonna have to go with it, and y'all are gonna have to be okay with that. Now, one thing I would really like to hear from you guys about in the comment section down below is what cars you are going to be using as your go-to, you know, have fun, go out, free roam, and just drift all over the place. What are those cars going to be for you? Is it going to be, and because the cool thing about that is that it doesn't have to fit into any kind of box whatsoever. It could be a Miata, it could be a BMW M3, it could be a BMW M5, it could be a truck, it could be some kind of SUV, it could be who knows what. But at the end of the day, and by the way, really cool moment seeing that E36 pull up next to me, like super sick right there. I almost stopped to take a picture, but I was like, nah, I'm on like a 75,000 point combo right now, and I'm gonna keep freaking going. But I really love how, like, as I was drifting around the world, all of these other like really cool like 90s and early 2000s German cars just all showed up. I thought that was like a super sick touch, especially to see roaming around the world. Now, right now, we're starting to get more into the upper section of the canyons, up on a mountain, and you can actually see way off in the distance how far, like, the views and the vistas that you get is just absolutely just mind-blowing. And as I drive along, there are so many areas where I'm like, I want to explore that, and I want to explore that, and I want to explore that, and there's really, like, you could just endlessly explore, and I feel like even after you've explored everything on this map, you'll still be coming back for more. I know that I will still be coming back for more regardless, like, even after I've driven every road in this game, which I absolutely plan on doing, I will still be coming back time after time for more. And that view of the mountains right there, as I came around that S-corner in full slide, and then right there once again, I literally felt like I was looking at a photograph. I felt like I was looking at a picture that was taken with like a gigantic lens. I don't know about you guys, but once again, you can let me know your thoughts on those views and those vistas in the comments down below, because every single corner I came around, it just continued to blow my mind over and over and over and over again. Now, this spot right here, I turned in hoping, I got off the main road, hoping that this would be a good result, hoping it would show me something that I was looking for, and my God, did it not disappoint. Now, this little circuit right here, and I say circuit lightly because you can use it as a circuit. It's not technically like a racetrack or a circuit course, but you can use it as one, and this sweeper right here is probably one of the craziest viewpoints that you will ever see in this map, because not only do you have that entire corner to drift around, that entire sweeper, but you have a little pull-off section up here on the left where you could park up and hang out with friends. You literally have a car meet spot right there in the middle of this drift circuit. It literally, when I was driving around this little section of the map, I was getting mad vibes of like, they had to have designed this for the drift community. They literally had to design this spot for the drift community, and there's like, I cannot express how incredibly happy that makes me, because there are so many wonderful sections of this map, but this spot right here just makes me want to come back to it over and over and over again with every single drift car I have. And I guarantee you that most of my drift cars, aside from being tested at the festival circuit, most of them will probably be tested, set up, and tuned right here. And here is where we're going to show you guys the exact location of where this drift circuit is. It is absolutely incredible. And by the way, that little section that I sort of like scrolled across that has kind of the cascading hairpin turns, that is a dirt area, so I wouldn't necessarily expect to be taking your drift car down there, but as you can see, that is dirt. But still, I mean, I would take a rally car down there in a heartbeat. Wouldn't necessarily take like a, 900 horsepower rear-wheel drive drift car down there, but you can if you want to, which is the beauty of the Horizon series. Now, if you see where this is, it's basically to the upper right of where the stadium is, so just look on your map and cross-reference it with the stadium, and you'll find it super easily. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below a couple of things. A, what you think of this particular drift section as we initiate for another run on it, because I literally am totally addicted to this spot, and I could not stop. And B, what kind of cars you guys are going to build for this spot, and will you be using this as a spot to hang out with friends? Will you be using it as a spot for drift meets? Because I definitely will be. I definitely will be using this spot. And also, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your amazing continued input and support of all of the Forza Horizon 5 preview content here on the channel. Thank you all so, so, so much. And also, if you guys want to see more like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and I will see y'all next time, and I will leave you at the end of this video with the rest of this drift run at full volume so you can hear that screaming S54.